Hello, this is Lego My Gun and this is my first YouTube video. Unfortunately, my original recording for this challenge was deleted, so sorry for the low quality video. Anyways, today I answer the question, can you beat Fallout 4 with only the Flamer? The premise of this challenge is simple. I can only attack using the Flamer, so no attacking anything until I get one. I thought getting one off the bat would be simple, however, as you will see, it was not. I also wanted to avoid using bashing, but we'll get to that later. We start by making a fitting character. I decided to go with the default template and add all the burns, because the Wasteland needs to know I've got experience with the hot stuff. After I was finished with my character, I walked out of the bathroom, almost got run over by Codsworth, and then jumped on some furniture and went exploring. I tried to take some stuff from the laundry room to snack on later, but was unfortunately unable to do so. Next, I greeted the salesman and picked my special points. I decided to go with an 8 in strength for the heavy gunner and the basher perk, just in case. I also picked a 9 in luck and 1 in intelligence for the idiot savant perk. The only other note was a 3 in charisma for the lone wanderer perk. I then named myself Hothead because, obvious. Said hi to the baby, then went out and watched the news with my family. Heard something quite odd about
nuclear detonations
later, and figured it was time to head to the vault. On my way, I jumped over a man, jumped over a box, and jumped onto the platform. I then watched a really big firework go off, and slowly entered the vault. Once I was inside, I entered the vault, got froze, witnessed a murder, and then hit the floor. I then made my way to the overseer's office. Before I got there, I stopped by and grabbed a stim pack, and then dodged the roaches using the patented Mitten Squad technique. Mitten Squad is actually one of the reasons I started doing YouTube. Well, started this first video anyways. And I continued to use his technique as I exited the rest of the vault. It didn't quite work on that first door, but I managed to trap most of the roaches behind the second one. And then I used it again on the last two outside. I then read this sign until I was hidden, grabbed the pit boy, and began the process of exiting the vault. With my current plan being exit the vault, go to Sanctuary, talk to Codsworth, then go to Concord and Diamond City. I opened the vault door, waltzed outside, and before I hit the surface, I decided to give myself a haircut. I couldn't decide quite what to do, but then I ended up settling on a firebrand, because fire. Once out of the vault, I made my way towards Sanctuary and admired the trees. These trees are part of a mod I installed just for this playthrough. I don't know, I think they look kinda nice, and it makes the game kinda feel more wild. 5 stars. Anyways, enough about the trees. I headed over to Codsworth, talked to him briefly, then went inside to grab the book, put an extra point in luck, because why not, did nothing to help kill the bugs, and then went inside to loot the meat to help heal me later. My next move is one I'll probably be repeating in most future playthroughs, which is running to the root cellar behind this house and stealing everything inside, either to sell later or to heal me up when I need it. I then headed out towards Red Rocket and got curious. I wondered if you could throw one of those tires into the Red Rocket workshop range and scrap it. So I successfully threw the tire in, but we'll never know if you can scrap it because I instantly forgot about it and began talking to Dogmeat. After our brief conversation, I ran inside Red Rocket, grabbed some more scrap, and made my way to Diamond City. I discovered Concord on the way, but decided not to deal with the raiders at this time. I then traded with Trashcan Carla to possibly get some ammo for later. Didn't get any, so I sold some stuff instead. After that, I made my way towards the diner to get some free XP. I took a lot of damage at first, so once I was there, I stopped to check the difficulty. I realized it was on normal, and that's where it stayed for the remainder of the playthrough. During the fight, I hid in this little corner and let Trudy do most of the fighting, because currently I am a noodle that can take no damage and give no damage. After the fight, I looted the bodies, got my reward for running around and hiding, and then traded with Trudy. I tried to get either a flamer or ammo off of her. Of course, she had neither, so I just sold some stuff for caps. But it was during this trade that I remembered something. Something awesome. Something that Mitten Squad has taught me. So, after we were finally finished trading, I headed back to Sanctuary. The item I was talking about was fence posts. This item can be built in large quantities for low cost, and each one gives you a little bit of XP. And with the Idiot Savant perk, randomly you'll get 3 times XP for building one. So it's an effective way to level up quickly. I gained a few levels, fast traveled back to Trudy, and then headed to Diamond City. On the way, I stopped by to help, in quotations, dance out with the ghouls. As in, I looted all of them, and then had a brief conversation. I wasn't sure who I was going to side with at this point, so I briefly spoke to him and moved on. I then settled a dispute peacefully, and then hit Diamond City. I did see a fight going on that I thought I could try to help out with, but all I did was end up stepping on a mine and killing myself. Next time around, I decided to skip the fight and head straight for the gate. At the gate, I had a brief conversation with Piper. Thankfully, because of my super charm, I was able to gain access. My whole plan for going here was that according to the Fallout wiki, Arturo sold a flamer and ammo for it. However, once I entered, neither him nor Mira had any ammo or any flamer. Reveling in disappointment, I decided just to sell some stuff for caps and went with Plan B. Plan B, however, was adventures outside of Diamond City and the Finn Street sewer. I arrived at the sewer, looked at some lovely art when I got inside, and got attacked by bugs and dead people. I nearly died once or twice, but eventually I fought through the ghouls and got what I came for. The Flamer. With Flamer in hand, I made my way back to Diamond City and got a fitting loading screen. Once inside the city, I went to spend my point from my previous level up and seriously thought about getting the Basher perk. But I only wanted to use flames from the Flamer, except getting ammo was harder than I thought. Instead of getting the perk, I decided to try to search for ammo. So I headed out to a local hospital. Unfortunately, all I got was a biometric scanner and burned to death. Kind of ironic. After that, I tried my luck in Good Neighbor, and you guessed it, no ammo. Nothing. My last option was the one place guaranteed to have at least a little bit of ammo, Sega's Ironworks. However, after searching high and low and not finding any ammo of any sort, I decided it was time to get bashing. So I put a point into it and prepared myself by drinking lots of water, because it's hydrate or dihydrate. My first fight went rather well. I was able to take out a regular forged in about 5 hits, and thankfully, he had 50 ammo on him, which isn't a ton for the Flamer, but it's better than nothing. This is actually one of my first time using the Flamer in Fallout, and boy is it effective, burning both regular and spooky forged in seconds. I was also unaware that it had the ability to damage multiple people at once, which was an awesome discovery. As you can see here, this ability means it sweeps the floor with low health enemies. After clearing out that room, I decided to test my luck against Slag, and well, here's how that encounter went.
You must be pretty strong to make it here. Playing games with me, huh?
After getting decimated, I left Segas, did a round of trading, and actually got ammo. It was then back to fight the raiders harassing Preston and gang. I gun bashed the first couple to save ammo, but then realized this thing is incredibly effective against raiders, killing most of them with a single spurt of flame. Once I finished toasting the ones outside, I headed inside and finished the rest. It was then time to talk to Preston, although he seemed blinded by my light, so I turned that off to quickly fix that situation. I then briefly spoke to him about some minor inconveniences he'd been experiencing, such as death as his whole team. After that conversation, I grabbed the power armor from the roof and went to fight the Deathclaw. The fight wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. The Deathclaw, of course, was intimidating and scary, but the Flamer was pretty effective against it. I did at one point get picked up and thought I was totally dead, but turns out with the power armor, he couldn't get an animated kill blow on me. I then finished him off with a bash and then the remainder of the burn damage I'd done on him. Then I ran back inside the museum to collect my reward from Preston, and then headed back to Sanctuary. Once there, I decided to upgrade my flamer by adding a longer barrel and then renaming it X Lapin. Because, well, I don't really know why. Anyways, I remired some fences and then headed back to Diamond City. I was headed there to steal the key to Frosted's house, and when I got there, everything went quite smoothly. I then headed to talk to Nick and realized I hadn't rescued him yet. This was unfortunate, so I left and made my way down to the vault. Just outside the entrance, I easily roasted some triggermen. They're basically unarmored, which means they go down really fast. This also includes Dino, who took less than like half a second to kill. After saving Nick, I got to test the flamer on Skinny and his gang. They didn't stand a chance. I took them all out in a matter of seconds. Dino, Darla, and both of his men. Charring one of them pretty bad. Next, it was Diamond City to get my reward and talk to Nick, which was an interesting conversation.
Take a seat. Make yourself comfortable. When you're trying to find someone who's gone missing, the devil is in the details. Tell me everything you can, no matter how painful it might be.
We're looking for my son, Sean. He's less than...
I wasn't exactly sure what happened here, but I thought it was really funny to have a magical floating fan, and thought I'd put it in here. I did figure it out, however, after I broke into Flake's secret room. After looting all the goods I could, I grabbed the cigar from the table and started my conversation with Nick. Doing this causes the cigar to transcend reality and get a mind of its own. This wasn't the first time this happened with objects, so just pay attention and you'll see more of this craziness during the rest of the video. After I finished my conversation with Nick, I decided to head outside. My plan was to meet with Dogmeat and head straight for Kellogg. Once outside, I had Dogmeat smell the frosting on my hand and told him to lead me straight to the cereal box. Now, I ran ahead of Dogmeat and beat him to Fort Hagen, so what I did is I went into a little room, waited, and then once he arrived, I talked to him, told him to go on his way, and entered the building. I was curious on how the flamer would handle the synths, but turns out it absolutely sweeps the floor with them. I can wipe most of them out in seconds, and I had no trouble dealing with them, except of course for another mine. This thing even melted the leader synth in record time. As for the fight with Kellogg, I decided to record it and let you see. I then watched the Brotherhood arrive and witnessed firsthand their new lightspeed technology. I then had another magic conversation with Nick and Piper, leveled up, and put another point into the Heavy Gunner perk before heading to the Rememory Den. I walked on some brain, learned about Virgil, then left and grabbed some power armor. On my way out to Virgil, I decided to make a brief stop and do some burnt sacrifices with the children of Adam. One of his followers, however, refused to die and instead wanted to run forever but go nowhere. I then decided to kill the Deathclaw outside of Virgil's cave. This was a pretty cool fight, but it went down pretty quickly, despite being spooky. The Flamer really does pack a punch. I then went into Virgil's cave and tried to get him to give me his plans early by tempting him with some meat, but all he wanted was roasted ship. So I burned up the courser and his friends. Obviously they were his friends because of the friendly conversation I interrupted. I then killed the synth in the next room for good measure, and then moved on. My next move was to have a barbecue with the railroad, which had a great turnout. Once I was finished barbecuing, well, all the members, I then decoded the chip and made my way outside. As you probably noticed, I will not be siding with the railroad. It was actually at this point I had made my decision. I decided I was going to side with the Brotherhood. I didn't want to side with the Minutemen because they have you running around the whole map, recruiting settlements and helping settlements, and I'll do that on my next playthrough. As for right now, I really wanted to test the Falmer against a Behemoth. I also wanted to mention that I will no longer be highlighting each time I go get more ammo. I did it before most major battles, and the vendors now carry a good amount for some reason. After leaving the Old North Church, I had a lovely 40-second long loading screen, which I thought I'd share with you in complete silence. Thought I was kidding, didn't you? Anyways, now that I was outside, I figured I would make my way to the Cambridge police station to talk to Dance. I arrived at the police station, talked to Dance, and headed to Archet. Also, I forgot to mention this, but at some point I did go back and visit Virgil. Once at Archet, we absolutely decimated all the synths, including the ones near the reactor, which of course I let off to burn up the rest of the synths and Dance, who is a synth. I then leveled up and headed back to the Pridwin to assault Fort Strong. I had a brief conversation with Beardman, and then walked down to Fort Strong and began my assault. The Flamer did pretty good against higher variants of the mutants and the Behemoth. To finish him off, I got him stuck by this house, and it melted his health pretty quickly. Once inside, I had more regular mutants, who each went down in a couple seconds. I then returned to the airport, built the teleporter, entered the Institute, and decided to roast Falmer. And then, what I had been waiting for. A test on a large clumped together group of synths. As you can see, once I get going, I could just walk forward and all the synths would fall before me. Once I melted them all down, I looted them, left, built a metal man some motors, and then headed out to the glowing sea and burned through the ghouls like butter. Ghouls. Anyways, I then faced Adam's wrath, and it died rather quickly. After I secured the nukes, I made my way out of the plant and messed with this elevator. I can't remember if it's supposed to move at like the speed of light. Just for fun, I dropped some stuff on it and then launched it down, and then back up. After that fun experience, I stole some armor, went and taunted Dance with his very life force, and then toasted the toaster. I then went to Arcjet and failed to cut the building in half with my minigun. So I opted to jump out of the plane and onto the roof, where I landed next to a synth and killed it. The second try went much smoother and was successful. I got the location of the agitator and took a jump. And then I took the beryllium out of the agitation I thought the sentry bot would be a problem, but I ended up dominating it. I mean, it just went down in seconds, which was awesome. The Assaultrons didn't fare too well either, only lasting about 20 seconds total. After killing them, I ran for the exit and activated Prime. I also tried to jump on him and failed, and then instead decided to fast travel to the Institute. Once I arrived, I made sure Prime was on his way, burned up a synth or two, and waited for him to get in position. He then lasered a hole into the earth and nuked it. Inside, I steamrolled through synth after synth. If I was lucky enough to find a group, I could bake them all at once, which was really satisfying. That you can see right here. After dealing with the easy stuff, I went to fight the gorillas. I was even able to take them out with ease. Although they have a large health pool and had a lot of fellow robots to help, they didn't stand a chance. After melting through them, I headed outside and faced one of the legendary synths, and even took him out without an issue. Next was unlocking the door, so I headed down the elevator, past Father, who was in an interesting position, opened the door, and headed down to the reactor. Once I made my way inside, I got 2 double kills right off the bat, and then got attacked by a fellow Pryomaniac. I quickly disposed of him because there can be only one hothead in this wasteland. I took his password, opened the reactor, and placed the bomb. I then turned and spoke to Fancy Face, and was teleported out of there. I then told the robot all that he was getting from me was whiskey and some fire. I then did my last teleportation out of there, reached the surface, hit the button, blew up the Institute, and beat Fallout 4 with only the Falmer. Thanks for watching. I'll make sure to figure out my low quality issue for next video. Speaking of which, please feel free to comment on what I should do next down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you want. This is Lake on My Gun, signing off.